Maritime Made is brought to you by Invest Nova Scotia. Experience and expertise strengthening your business.
Located in Lockeport, Nova Scotia, BrewWizz creates products and solutions for the craft brewing industry. The FizzWizz is one such invention. It's designed to precisely manage carbonation in the brewing process, and it's used by beverage manufacturers internationally.
Well, so BrewWizz is the company, it's called the FizzWizz, right? So the FizzWizz enables a client to carbonate their beverage to exactly the carbonation level or the fizziness level that they want it to be. And it's very easy to install. It's just a temperature sensor, and we take the pressure off the head of the tank, and they can literally just set the value that they want and press go, and then go home. And we're able to remotely monitor the carbonation level, so they can check it and look back at data for quality control. But it really is a set and forget product that enables them to carbonate overnight, as opposed to like trying to rush and do it in the day and do it manually.
Building a FizzWizz starts with the materials manager. The manager orders hundreds of parts from suppliers and organizes those parts for production. Static electricity can destroy a circuit board, so everything is placed in anti-static bags. Anti-static foot straps or bracelets are also worn to stay grounded when handling the circuit boards. First, bare pre-made circuit boards are inserted into the jet paste printer. Here, solder paste is added. Solder paste is a mixture of tin and solder flux that's used to adhere the many tiny circuits that will be added to the board. This machine can place 500 nanodots of solder paste on a board with exact precision in a single second. Once complete, the boards are ejected from the machine and sent down a conveyor to the robotic pick-and-place machine. Here, multiple feeder reels of small electronic components are picked and then placed on the circuit boards. These components can often be less than a millimeter in size, and each board often holds many different components. The reels are held in cassettes. Each feeder reel is first scanned by hand before being placed in the cassette. This is so the pick-and-place machine knows exactly what components are on which feeder reel. Once everything is calibrated, resistors, capacitors, and conductors are picked from the feeder reels and placed on the solder. Each tiny component is placed exactly where it needs to be based on the design of the circuit board. After inspection, circuit boards are placed in an oven. Here, they move through 6 zones, reaching up to 285 degrees Celsius. This melts the solder paste around the component legs, soldering them to the board. Once a circuit board is complete, it's taken for automatic optical inspection. Once clipped into the machine, the entire circuit board is compared to an image of a reference board. A computerized microscope and camera are used to compare each component on the board to those on the reference board. This entire process happens for the temperature sensors, pressure transducers, display boards, Wi-Fi modules, and motherboards. This particular circuit panel is actually 15 transducer boards. Each FizzWizz requires 3 of these. Once approved, the boards are taken for manual through-hole installation.
Started working for Allendale Electronics about 7 years ago as a technical consultant, and during my first year, I actually broke the production line, and just before Christmas, which was great because everybody got to go home before Christmas. And while we were waiting for parts to come in, Cyril and I were enjoying a beer, and I had this FizzWizz idea, and I said, well, why don't we try and make it here, because we can test it right here, and we can manufacture it here, and so we gave it a go, and in our first year we sold like 6 systems, and and now we sell like 50 a year. So it's been a phenomenal journey.
Many components require connections through the circuit board. These need to be done by hand and is called through-hole installation. Connectors, surge suppressors, and pressure sensors are all wire soldered by hand with a cleaning agent called flux. The boards are once again fully inspected by hand and then broken down into individual boards. Finally, a bit of glue and a small zip tie are used to secure a piece of tubing. This will cure for 12 hours. A metal screen is then added to help prevent electrical interference between circuit boards. Epoxy is mixed and then painted around the tubing to provide strain relief. This then dries for 24 hours. An elbow is finally added to the tubing. Once the component is complete, it's placed in the calibration machine to be zeroed out. This process ensures the pressure transducer will read 0 when there is no pressure and will then read the correct CO2 pressure once it's in use. Each pressure transducer is rated and then marked with paint. Green is used for more critical measurements. Once all the circuit boards are finished, final assembly begins. A CO2 supply port, a carbonation stone port, a paired connection, and a valve connector are attached to the fiberglass enclosure. A flow controller is added to the side of the box to ensure the carbonation stone can't exceed the maximum flow rate. 3 solenoids, which are used to mechanically control the flow of CO2, are assembled with pipes and filters using push connectors to attach them. These then get screwed to the solenoid plate manifold. A Wi-Fi module and display are then mounted on the top plate. The top plate is now inserted. Tubing connects the solenoids to the pressure transducers, which are then attached to the motherboard. Solenoid wires are connected so the motherboard can send them power. Finally, the buttons on the exterior face panel are connected while the cover is being secured. Now, the entire FizzWizz is ready to be programmed. After ensuring it connects to the cloud correctly, everything is tested to simulate usage on a tank. Any possible problems are corrected before setting it in test mode. All sensors are zeroed and each mode clicks through particular solenoids for 24 hours before a final factory acceptance test. Once it passes, each FizzWizz is packed for final shipment.
For me, I love living in rural Nova Scotia, so I wanted to have a company where I could design electronics by the ocean. And the craft beverage industry has been phenomenal for that because there's a real spirit of collaboration